So I would just call it incomplete. Remember in school when you did a homework assignment bad, they would just put incomplete or see me after class. That's what this shit is. It's a see me after class. It's an incomplete. It's a hey, I'm gonna call your parents because you out here, but I can't say that because it's against the rules as a teacher.
In this corner, standing at 6'5", weight class unknown, but hailing from the city of sin, put your hands together for Jamieson Welsh. And in this corner, standing at 5'10", weighing in at pounds, and coming to us from his super secret bunker with no AC in Tucson, Arizona, put your hands together for Luis Montemayor.
All right, thank you. Welcome back to another episode of the Mixed Company Podcast. I'm one half of the show, Jamieson Welsh, and joined by Luis. Luis, what's going on, man? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Jamieson. Man, I am so excited to be back for episode 34 of our show. But before we get into what's going on this episode, if you're just joining us, we got to have you go back to episode 33, our previous episode. We had an amazing interview with an award-winning journalist named Gail Falkenthal, a woman who has been covering boxing for years. She is one of the biggest experts in the sport you'll ever find. Passionate, a lot of knowledge. She's a historian of the sport, and we've gotten a lot of really good feedback on that episode. And you gotta check it out. It's a wonderful interview. She's totally awesome. After we got off the mic, she had some just personal advice for me about getting into boxing media a little bit more this year. So please, y'all, if this is your first episode, do not neglect our previous one, episode 33, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and on YouTube. So did you how did you feel about our previous episode with the interview, Jamieson?
It's always good talking with people who actually enjoy boxing. I think a lot of people get in the sport because it benefits them or because they can play an angle. She generally enjoys the sport. She enjoys all the parts of it, which is always a good thing to see. I think a big part as we've gotten with sports in media is there's too many people who try to become the story. There's too many people who try and be bigger than the people that they're covering. And I think that's a big issue that we have. Even in boxing, there are certain boxing people who I'm not going to name now, but for those who know that they feel that people are coming to Vegas or New York to cover them. That is not how this works. So it's refreshing to see people like boxing for what it is, not have any hot takes. That's another issue that we have with people who cover boxing. They weren't like subtly racist or nothing like that. So it was very good to see someone that actually enjoys boxing, wasn't on no funny stuff. So it was cool. It was cool. With that being said, it's a breath of fresh air, especially being a woman in the game, because a lot of times you see women in boxing, there's a lot of thoughts that go through your mind for whatever reason it might be. So it was good to see someone know their stuff, a lot of experience, no funny stuff, no questionable past, no, oh, she's only here because she did this, this, and that, or allegedly did this, this, and that. None of that. So it was good. It was refreshing. And hopefully going forward in 26 and beyond, we have more interviews like that.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I think our show is, we do have a lot of hot takes ourselves, but it comes from a passionate place for the sport and wanting to be better. So she and we agreed on a lot of things about where the sport is, where it's going, where it should go. So I cannot recommend our previous episode enough to everybody. If you want to, even if you're just tuning in and you don't know a lot about boxing and want to learn, that's an episode to go to because she is a wealth of information. And please check it out. But yeah, let's it's a new year and it's a new episode. So that was then. This is now. Let's turn our eyes to the best source in boxing news, the Boxing Gazette. Picked that up at the newsstand this morning when I woke up. Well, like 12:30 p.m. But I checked out the Boxing Gazette, and it is brought to you by our sponsor, Delightful Smoke Shop in Tucson, Arizona, located at 6217 East 22nd Street. Open 7 days a week. Please go check out Delightful Smoke Shop and apparel. And yeah, let's see what's on the news headlines today. First things first, Anthony Joshua retires, Tyson Fury unretires. So we talked also previous episode about Anthony Joshua's tragic accident that he had, a vehicle accident where a couple of his friends and members of his team passed away. Really, really sad, horrible thing to happen. And it turns out that after this, he's retiring. I am absolutely not a fan of Jake Paul, and I considered him excommunicado from the podcast. But Anthony Joshua, essentially, if he stays retired, is going out on top because he got his name in lights. I'm sure he made a big bag. A lot of ladies were thirsting for him when they learned who he was and saw pictures of him in the ring, video of him in the ring. So yeah, I think you know it's hard to get your mind right after something like that happens. Luckily, it's never happened to me. I've never been in an accident like that, but I've known people that have. I know people that lost people, and I just can't imagine you kind of getting your head right after that to be back in a ring anytime soon. So yeah, I don't know. Want to see what your thoughts are on whether you think this is going to stick or it's another one of those retire unretire situations.
It's tough because whenever you lose someone so sudden, all bets are off when it comes to emotions. Especially that's his team. Like he's losing
Yes.
trainers and people that are close to him to getting ready for battle. So it's not necessarily just losing a friend, but it's also losing someone that helps you in the ring. I think that's the part where it gets real dicey because you just can't trust anyone. Yes, he can get another trainer. Yes, he can get another nutritionist, a corner person, of course, but it's not the same. Like thing about boxing is the great boxers usually have a lot of chemistry from everybody in the camp. Everybody has a design role. Everybody knows their role. No one's trying to be more than they should. Everybody knows the pecking order. Everybody works in unison, and you have a great fight night. That's how it's supposed to go. If you add people in who don't have the same agenda as you do, or have another agenda, well, shit, he just cashed out. His next fight is gonna make a bunch of money. I'm only here for the check. That's not the people you really want in your corner. You want people who are in your corner that are gonna be honest with you, that got your best, thoughts in place, and you also want people who are gonna be there for you, not just as a boxer, but as a person. So if you were to get new people, I'm not saying it'd be impossible to get people who have his best benefit of heart, but there's no guarantee of that. So with all that being said, I think it's best that probably retire and got a huge payday and enjoy the rest of his life without putting himself in danger, and also not have to find a whole new staff of people to have to work for him for a potential fight.
Yeah, I do very much believe in the old adage of everyone's replaceable when it comes to work, business, that kind of things. I do, but it is different. You can't just say that and have that be a universal truth with boxing. Like you said, these are relationships that fighters build for years. And here's the thing: you want to say everybody's replaceable in the job or you're doing paperwork. Okay, that's fine. But this is somebody you're putting your life on the line, and you're putting your lives in your team's hands to get in that ring. So well, I do believe that is true. It's also not the same as being replaceable as even if you're a manager at Pure One Imports or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and like I said, good for him going out after having a really good banner year and it's just kind of here's I guess we call it the meme of the year is him um,
He did
breaking old
God's
boys'
work.
jaws. So.
He did God's work on the way out. He in the charade. I'm not happy that he participated in the charade, but it served a purpose. Like I'll give him a pass for what he did.
Sure, and this is speaking in hindsight after what happened and his decision to move on. I see it in a different light now, so I'll be I'll be fair. If this how he goes out, then hey, it could have been a lot worse.
Right, right,
uh,
right.
but yeah, Tyson Fury, unsurprising everybody, unretired for the fourth or fifth time. I don't really have a lot to say on that. I just kind of wanted to say this. This makes me believe that Bud Crawford is going to stay retired, and I can't back this up with anything other than just vibes because
Mm-hmm.
Bud Crawford seems like a genuine dude, like a real dude.
Mm-hmm.
Tyson Fury does not seem like a real dude. It seems like a persona. It's like this, like when Larry the Cable Guy and Andrew Dice Clay. That's not them. Those are personas. There's a guy named Dan Whitney who just we don't see anymore on TV or anything, right? That's kind of I feel about guys like Tyson Fury. Ryan Garcia is not a real dude. Hell, even Floyd, he doesn't seem like just a real person you're talking to that you could talk to at a bar.
So
But
ironically,
Rolly
that's not
Romero's
the
a
case.
gentleman.
Ironically,
Okay.
that is not the case. Floyd is very approachable,
Okay.
especially when it comes to like young kids and stuff. Floyd is more approachable probably than he should be, if that makes sense.
Okay.
With that being said, I get what you're saying. Um, Terrence Crawford's probably retiring because there's no more big fights for him. Like fighting Canelo, who we'll cover later, the timelines probably don't match up, so that probably don't work. There's no one else for him to fight to make the money he should make for fights. Plain and simple. Fury can fight people for big money. There's people out there he can fight. He can run it back with Usyk. He can. I don't know. I mean, we're not going to see another Wilder fight, but there's things we can see for him to where he's making the money he wants to make. So I understand why he's coming back because there's probably a fight or two he's been approached with. He ain't coming back just to fight for the minimum. We know that. There's probably last fight, I believe he made like 40 million or something like that, or 50 million, if I'm not mistaken. So if that's the case, you're not gonna bypass that. Just like especially this economy with everything going on, nah, we need that one last big check.
That's a very good point. I guess at some point we kind of shouldn't expect everybody to stay retired if they can still, get their way into the ring. Because times are tough. Everything's getting more expensive, and doesn't matter how much money you make, you can lose every bit of that bag you have, right?
Well, also everything's about opportunity because what ends up happening is this: you don't know when the opportunity is ever going to come again if it does. So when that does happen, it's like, well, shit, I got to take advantage of this because this may not be here. So if somebody comes knocking about 40, 50 million and you don't have a whole lot of fights left in you, if you let that 40, 50 million walk out the door, that's not coming back. It's not like being in your 20s or 30s where it's like, I'll take a break or I won't fight this person. You can get away with that at that age because you'll have more fights. At this age, we got a possible of a fight. So yeah.
When I would watch a Tyson Fury fight because I try to watch all the fights, but I'm not going to be excited about it. Are you?
No.
Yeah, it's one of those. How about this? I wouldn't break plans to watch the next Tyson Fury fight.
I'll see you later.
Yeah. If there's like a concert I really want to go see or something, or like hell, even a movie that I really want to go see on that Friday or Saturday night, I'll go check that out. I don't know. We'll see. I wouldn't expect a Wilder fight. I don't know. I would be somewhat interested in an Usyk trilogy, but that's mostly because I want to see Usyk back in the ring. I just want to see him fight somebody and just get back there because I think he's still got some gas in the tank. And I don't know if he's thinking about retirement. He was talking about a Wilder fight. We mentioned that. If he does do that, like, is he going to keep going or is he on his way out? Same thing. If he does, if he hangs it up, he's going to go out on top, has an amazing career. But I want to see that man back in the ring, damn it. He's just so good. He's just too good.
That's fair.
Switching topics and speaking of people that don't necessarily need the money to fight and whose retirement we have discussed before on the show as well, Canelo Alvarez popped up on social media throwing punches after an elbow surgery that he needed to have after the Crawford fight. So he's saying he's going to be back in the ring, but he's saying that he very likely will miss his Cinco de Mayo fight.
Yep.
We're going to see him probably back in September at the earliest, which is a big deal because that's been his bread and butter. He's been the king of Cinco de Mayo for, what is it, like at least a decade, maybe longer?
Longer now.
Mm-hmm. So the bigger question, same thing. I don't really have a lot to say about Canelo specifically coming back, other than I'll say this. I'm still a fan. I'll always be a fan. He comes back, I'll be there. I'll watch it. I'll watch the fight. I'll be excited. I'll get hyped for it. His loss to Bud doesn't. I don't think he's like a bum or a loser or anything. He just got outboxed. He got outclassed, and that happens.
It sure does.
My thing is, Cinco de Mayo is wide open. David Benavidez has slotted in there to fight Zurdo Ramirez May 2nd in Vegas. So what I really want to know, especially specifically from you, Jamieson, as an outsider looking in, I see Cinco de Mayo in Vegas as a big deal. Mm-hmm. Is it still? Has it changed? Is it something that can still make a name? Is David Benavidez slotting himself up perfectly? Or is it just because do people take it for granted because there's always a Cinco de Mayo weekend? What are your thoughts on that?
So I just want to correct just want to be for sure. Benavidez is Mexican, correct?
He's Mexican-American. So he is wasn't born in Mexico. But yes, absolutely.
Okay. That part is huge. As long as he's Mexican, he's fine. Canelo's not going to be around forever. there's going to be another guy that replaces that Cinco de Mayo slot eventually. You might as well start now. However, it is mid-January. We got 3.5 months to Cinco de Mayo. The marketing has to start now because David Benavidez's name is not as big as some of the other names that have had that slot for years. So you need that marketing, and also you need a really good card. You can't have David Benavidez in three random fights that wouldn't be on TV anywhere else. That can't happen. You need to have a really strong card because our Mexican people, brothers and sisters, are going to always come out here for Cinco de Mayo. They always going to support their fighters. I love that about them. I love it. Whether it's in LA, Phoenix, Texas, Vegas, they come out in droves and support their people, and I love it. However, with everything going on right now, it better be a good card. You can't just have David Benavidez fighting out here in Vegas and that's it. That's not going to work. You got to have a really good card. You also have to market it very well. You have to market on different platforms, different outlets to making sure it's like you need the average person to be like, Canelo's not fighting this Cinco de Mayo, but who's this guy? You need those kind of things in your favor. And I don't know if the powers that be are able to do that or are willing to do that because that's what's needed as of right now.
Well, and I will say this: I don't think we know anybody else who's fighting, but it was mentioned in an article. Make of that what you will, But it said that it's supposed to be a Mexican-centric card for the Benavidez fight. So, and his opponent Zurdo Ramirez is also Mexican.
Got it. Okay.
So there's that. So it seems to be that they're kind of know exactly what they're doing, and this is another Riyadh season event put on by the Saudis. So it seems like they kind of are thinking the right thing about this, but
it helps. It helps a lot. The issue is this: you have to market it very, very well because the one thing we both know is this: Vegas is not the same Vegas we grew up with. Vegas is very expensive. You got to give a reason for people to come here. And if there's no marketing for said fight, it could get rough because Vegas, you're paying for so many things. And I'm assuming tickets will not be cheap. So with that being said, you really got to put together a really good card. You got to incentivize the boxing fan, to come out here and watch a good night of boxing in May. You really have to. I just don't know if that is going to be done with Riyadh season because how they do things, they just throw money at stuff. They don't necessarily have the proper marketing. It's just, hey, here's money for this, here's money for that, and that's cool. But you can do both, especially if you know the date is 3.5 months out. So that's something that we need to have on social media. We need to have on different outlets. It needs to be everywhere because his name is not as big as other guys. So you got to get his name as big. So there you go.
Yeah, and we're definitely fans of David Benavidez, but I would agree. Yes, his name isn't there like as the people that have done it before. But do you think that do you think that the Cinco de Mayo we can make a name for somebody, or is it that it's because it seems like it's already given to the people that are already big names. Can this be a launching pad for him for something better? Do you think?
Always, because as long as you fight often and you knock people out or stop people, that's how you get the general people, is by stopping people and powerfully. If you stop people powerfully, you'll get the general sports fan. And then once people keep hearing your name, they will automatically tune in because they know who you are now. They keep on hearing, hey, this David Benavidez dude, I heard he's nice. I heard he's that's how it goes. So in order to grow a guy like this into that next step, it's a full on press of marketing, making sure saying, hey, this guy's an actor, he's fighting twice a year, this is the plan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, then yeah, that works. It just got to be consistent because the one thing you don't want is have any positive momentum stop because once it stops, it's very hard to get back.
Yeah, and the guy puts on great shows. He has a lot of knockouts. So, for me, I feel personally it's kind of hard to gauge where Benavidez is in the general boxing conversation because I'm in Tucson. He's from Phoenix, so there's a lot of built-in fandom here. He's my neighbor. But I know that he's not as big as he should be, not yet. But it's just hard. It's hard to know when he crosses that line. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
for me. But yeah, I mean. I think he's kind of the guy. A buddy of mine and I were just chatting about boxing not too long ago, just at a bar, and we mentioned, who's the next Mexican fighter after Canelo. I said David Benavidez is a good choice. My buddy said, "Well, yeah, he's not from Mexico. He's Mexican American. His dad is Mexican. His mom is from Ecuador." Uh, but he did make a point to say, "Well, it used to be Julio Cesar Chavez was the guy, and then we went to Oscar De La Hoya, who's Mexican American. So it's like we get one, and then another one, Mexican and Mexican American. So this could be sort of history repeating itself for him.
Right.
I know our guest Gail Falkenthal last episode mentioned that she thinks Emiliano Vargas could be Oscar De La Hoya 2.0. I've seen him fight. Kid's got skills, but at the same time, he's still wet behind the ears. So I don't see if he really, really does become Oscar 2.0 and he becomes like huge star, big name in Mexican boxing. It's not going to be this year. Maybe next year. It's hard to say when he gets his real big shot.
Oscar had a McDonald's commercial, bro. Like, it takes a lot. Like, throwing his name around is way, way different. Besides the boxing alone, Oscar was a star out of the ring. And I don't know if that part, because being Oscar in the ring is one thing. He was a hell of a fighter in his prime. There's no question about that at all. We're not going to debate that today. However, the crossover star he became, I think that's what she may be. I think she may be referring to, and that's something that we're far away from, because even though the Olympics were in '92 and people knew Oscar a little bit because of that, the average sports fan knew who Oscar De La Hoya was in the '90s and early 2000s. We got to get back to that. That's where I think we're missing the bridge at when it comes to these guys.
That's a very good point. Yeah, he is a mainstream star, but again, do we have boxers that can be mainstream stars? I don't see Shakur. Do you see Shakur Stevenson doing a McDonald's commercial?
No, because here's the thing: his personality. For instance, Tank was our best shot as a best crossover star for a lot of reasons. Okay. Knockout artist, little guy. People love little guys. Like, I don't care how the average person loves a little guy. That's amazing at sports. Unfortunately, Tank went Tank, so that's a whole different show topic I don't want to go over right now. There's a few guys. Hell, if Terrence Crawford was 5 years younger, he would be in every sports conversation there is as best athlete in the world. It's that he's just our age, so that's the difference. That's the issue. No, a boxer could definitely be in the everyday sports fan's mind. Boxing is still popular enough and still active enough for that. The problem is the boxers we have right now, they don't fight often enough. That's still my biggest complaint. They're not active enough. Secondly, is they're all, not all, but for the most part, they're kind of quiet. They're all kind of to themselves. There's no one that's like a big star out the ring for whatever reason. And the ones that are big stars out the ring, they're not good in the ring anymore. So that's the mixture that we got to figure out. But no, if the good boxer that becomes a mega star in this country or in our society, there's still room for that. No doubt about it, because people still watch boxing. They still watch. No matter what apps you got to download, people still watch.
Yeah, and I can see where you're coming from. I'm a little bit more skeptical on that, just based on just how prominent it is not, based on back in the day. We've had these conversations about growing up in the '90s and movies that depicted mainstream movies about boxing. I feel I'll put it to you this way. I don't really follow any other sport. I've never followed it, been passionate or really like invested in any other sport. But I'm sure I can name, football players, basketball players, and I don't feel that UFC fighters for sure. I don't think I've ever watched a full UFC card start to finish, but there's, guys whose names I know. And I feel that I'm that guy for other people who don't follow boxing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, our great producer just posted this in our chat. Consider this: 1,000 UFC events every year, and the biggest fight events each year remain boxing matches. So at the end of the day, no matter what era or slump we have in boxing or whatever people think, boxing is still boxing. And the key is we need the perfect storm of people fighting often, people being entertaining while fighting, and also being cool or marketable outside the ring. We haven't had that mixture in quite some time. When Floyd wasn't beating up women, allegedly, that he was the perfect mix. But once he had a DV case, that was done. That was out. Terrence Crawford was on Top Rank. That was out. You mentioned Tank. Shakur Stevenson's interesting. I think he could be it, but his fighting style is so boring to some that he would need to knock people out in the ring and do it impressively and quickly in fights to get that. But he does have the look. He does talk a lot. He is active. He is outside, as they say. But with that being said, you need more. You need more than him because one, he might only fight twice a year. The way he fights doesn't necessarily suggest a guy that the average sports fan wants to see. You need a guy that's going to entertain while also boxing at a high level, and that's something that we have not seen lately.
Yeah, and that's really where I'm coming from. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy here. You're talking to the guy who's absolutely the only sport I truly love is boxing. I just don't see what we used to see. And yes, it could be that this is just a low point, a slump, as you said, and we'll be back. But no, that's interesting. A really good point. Thanks to our producer Jabari. I would not have thought that the biggest events are still boxing matches because really, in casual conversation, I'm speaking anecdotally. All the people that I talk to are excited about UFC matches, and I'm the one telling them, by the way, Canelo versus Crawford is a big fucking deal. By the way, Shakur versus Teo, like you should look at that. And everybody's just always thinking about, talking about, oh, it's a major fight between such and such and Israel Adesanya and some other guy whose name I've never heard of. But hey, it's good to know that at the end of the day, I do believe this. I believe boxing is always going to be in the conversation one way or another. I don't feel that we're ever gonna lose it as a sport. And you're right. No matter how many apps people have to download, boxing is ingrained in the culture just as much as baseball is. Unfortunately, because baseball is boring as shit and I hate it. but I feel a little skeptical that our boxing stars can be like, I don't know, I guess on a Wheaties box
stars. You need them to be crossover stars, and that's where I think that's the biggest issue where the average American person is bringing them up when it comes to favorite athletes or most dominant athletes. We haven't had that since Floyd.
Sure. And here's another thing too. Another wrinkle that I have to make sure to mention is Canelo's a huge star in Mexico. Tyson Fury is a huge star in the UK, right? Like these are mainstream dudes. I've seen.
And most boxers are more popular where they're from overseas than they are here. So even though boxing is what it is here, said boxer from whatever country they're from or wherever they're living at, they're popular. And a lot of times boxing is more popular there than it is here in general. It's talked about more. They take it seriously more. I mean, hell, boxing in the UK is way different, and they sell football stadiums regularly. So you take that for what it is.
Yeah, all of that to say, I'm really pulling for David Benavidez to become a crossover star, and hopefully with this fight, we're going to talk a lot more about it because it is a few months away. But potentially being the new king of Cinco de Mayo, I don't see. There's a lot of other stars, Bam Rodriguez, amazing fighter, really, really strong following, Mexican American from San Antonio. But I do not see at the moment his name being as close to mainstream as Benavidez is. So I think if we're going to talk about who's the next big name at Cinco de Mayo, I would bet my money on Benavidez. But also, yeah, I think where we start is this fight needs to be marketed as David Benavidez contra Zurdo Ramirez. You start there, we're off to a real good start.
Right.
So we'll see. And just on that note as well, Benavidez is going up to cruiserweight to fight Zurdo Ramirez. Artur Beterbiev said he's interested in a fight. Benavidez said he is interested as well. So hopefully after this fight, that's what we get, because that's really what he was pulling for, a Beterbiev or Bivol matchup. And I think that's what's going to do it. Once people see him up against these two guys, like some of the biggest names, biggest knockout artists, or sorry, Beevil's not a knockout artist, but he is a big star. and better be it being one of the biggest knockout artists that we have in the sport in modern day. I think it's going to be that's really what's going to clinch it. So I hope that happens for him. And just to make sure that we get this note on here from our producer, the largest UFC crowd ever was 57K in 2019 when it peaked, and Canelo put 71K in Cowboy Stadium a few years back. So
and put like 60
that's a
plus
really
in a radio stadium last September. So yeah,
right. Well, that's some really good context. That's why, and I never presumed to be an expert, so that's why we got our intrepid producer here helping us out. So thank you to producer Jabari. All right, next up on the list here, Ryan Garcia is officially set for February against Mario Barrios. Last seen drawing against Manny Pacquiao. So how much longer is Ryan going to keep getting a shot after popping for the PEDs, losing his last fight against Rolly? Here's another losing and not really performing well. Canelo lost against Crawford, but he looked good in the ring. He was putting in the work.
Right.
Ryan Garcia did not do very well against Rolly,
Right.
and he lost. You mentioned before that everybody wins ugly, and that's fine. I think losing pretty is also okay. You know what I mean? Like if you put in the effort,
losing and drawing pretty can keep you from making money. Like you can make money by doing that.
Okay.
Lamont Roach is a perfect example of that. Like, he didn't necessarily lose, but he had a couple draws recently that has his name in a lot of discussions going forward. And all the good fighters, the great fighters, always have one fight where they don't have their fastball, but they still find a way to win. The objective is always to win. However, when you lose and it's ugly and you look disinterested, you on the path to 4 p.m. fights. You on the way. You keep fucking around losing fights that you shouldn't lose and look disinterested. Because here's the thing: once you're disinterested, we're disinterested, and once that happens, it's over. And you don't get it back. That's the thing too. Once you failed so many opportunities and you've been busted for PEDs and you really don't have nothing going on outside, it's over. And people don't have time. Because the one thing I will say about boxing, there's somebody right now working their ass off to make their debut sometime this year. And that's going to fight every month until they get to where they got to get to where they fight every 3 months and every 6 months. So they ain't got time for people like this. This kind of stuff is going to eventually get washed out, and it's getting washed out a lot sooner than it used to be. Back in the day, this type of guy, this Ryan Garcia type, Jab Zuda type, Adrian Brunner type, to where, yes, you had boxing skills or you're athletic or whatever, but something was wrong with you. Those guys lasted 30, 40, 50 fights. That's not happening no more. People aren't dedicating time and resources to that foolishness no more. So if he's not coming correct next month and he loses and looks bad, he's going to be a streamer. He's going to be a streamer. He's going to be a part-time boxer. He's going to be fighting when they set up the chairs are regular ass folding chairs. Y'all see the M Life and the Caesars and all that shit. That's just a cover they put over them regular ass hard-seated folding chairs, all right? He gonna be fighting when they setting up them shits. Not putting the pad over, just setting up the chairs. I'm telling you, man, you can't have so many lackluster outings in boxing no more. It's just the sport is different now. For better or for worse, you just can't do that. You can't.
Now, I definitely don't want to get another situation where I straight up say Ryan Garcia is going to lose and he's going to look like shit, because that's essentially what I did with Devin Haney.
He lit a fire under that ass and saved his career.
Yeah, absolutely. And he needed to, but I was also speaking based on what we had seen from him going in the past. And yeah, we haven't really seen a lot from Ryan Garcia. I mean, his big win against Haney was tainted, literally. And then lost to Tank, lost to Rolly, and again lost to Rolly with looking like he wasn't even really awake in that ring. So
with all due respect to Rolly's a guy as a tune-up fight guy. He is not a guy that should be putting you to the breaks. Like, that's a guy that you get ready for your next fight with.
Yeah, I think that I'm there, kind of where you said with Ryan Garcia, of like losing interest. Again, still going to watch because I just enjoy watching fights, and I do like Mario Barrios. I think he did he probably should have done better against old ass Manny Pacquiao, but same thing. He was there Manny was there to really make a statement, and he did. And I don't blame Mario Barrios' performance. Plus, it was a draw, so let's be clear. But he did look good in that ring. I'm. How about this? I'll say what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that Mario Barrios comes back, beats Ryan decisively, and then he just moves on to streaming, to being on TikTok, whatever he wants to do. If he's low on subscribers for his YouTube channel, he'll fight at 4 p.m., make some cash, and then just kind of
you can't
do his
play
own
box. You cannot play boxing. Boxing's very serious. You got to be serious mentally and physically in order to be good in boxing. You can't be halfway in, halfway out. If that's the case, then he will not be fighting that much longer because the demand to see him will go lower and lower. Now, he become a streamer and then box down the road or whatever. That's cool, whatever. But there's like serious fights versus serious guys. If he gets blown out in this fight, it is over. It is over. He will never fight under the bright lights on a serious card again if he loses this fight.
Yeah, and just to be clear and not to sound like I'm being a hypocrite or that I just going back on anything I said before. After Devin Haney's win, I said I was excited to see a rematch between him and Ryan because I wanted to see it done right, and I wanted to see that version of Devin Haney fight Ryan and see like if he could really outbox him and kind of take the punishment, avoid the big power shots that Ryan has. Because again, he's a big puncher, and anybody can get caught with a really, really strong power punch. So I'm not going to say that he has no chance of winning by any means. But I did say, and I stand by that, I would have rather than Ryan fighting Mario Barrios. I would rather them run it back with Haney and, see what Haney learned from his own lackluster fight.
If you're Haney, can you trust Ryan to be serious for a fight?
That's a good point.
Like,
that's a very good point.
Can you risk wasting another full year dealing with this guy? Not necessarily the PEDs or whatever, because that's obviously a thing, but just the overall behavior of a fight, selling a fight, all that stuff. Do you really trust that he is mentally and physically prepared to fight and market a fight and not take PEDs and not be dumb for 6 months? I don't know.
That's fair. I mean, definitely the version of Devin Haney that we saw at his last fight, let's call it his big comeback fight. That was a man who took his goddamn job seriously. Like that man knew that he needed to put in the work and look better than he ever has before. And I think he might have actually that fight against Brian Norman and his fight against George Kambosos were like right there for top tier Haney performances, neck and neck. So yeah, I would say that let's call it Haney 2.0. Haney 2.0 should not be messing around with Ryan shenanigans. Okay, no. That's a really good point.
With that being said, Devin Haney's a guy that's a good looking guy. When he fights like he did last time, he can be pretty marketable. Like these are the things that we need. We don't need guys washing out. The sport is not healthy enough for guys that have a name and reputation to wash out. Like Ryan Garcia washing out of boxing is not good for the sport. That's a guy that needs to be somewhat good, at least relevant enough to fight several big fights or be on several big cards at least because he's popular. People know him. He has a following. So you need those things. If he washes out, if he gets beat next month and it's bad, and he's on the pre 6 p.m. fights going forward, if he fights again, it's bad. It's not good for the sport. And I'm not a fan because I don't do shenanigans, but we don't need foolishness. And here's the thing too: people aren't paying for it unless you're dealing with Jake Paul and all them types. But no one else paying for foolishness.
I guess if he does lose, we're going to see Jake Paul's big comeback against Ryan Garcia is kind of the only thing left for him to do to keep his name in lights. Well, you also kind of just triggered something here that I wasn't thinking about. You mentioned Ryan Garcia needs to be serious for the good of the sport because he has a name and he's known, but he's known on social media. He's a big social media star. Is maybe that's what's going to be the next thing. Maybe we're not going to have McDonald's commercials. Crossover stars aren't going to be on the Wheaties boxing crossover stars. They're going to be, huge on TikTok, and they're going to be do TikTok promotions and going live on Instagram promoting, different brands. Maybe that's what it's going to really show what a boxing crossover stars can be.
You're absolutely correct. This era is going to be different. It's going to be a crossover star of some way, shape, or form. The online is definitely that's definitely the part of it for sure. But also you got to be good. You can't be sorry and be a star. You got to be good. And right now, Ryan is very popular online, but in the ring he's sorry, and his best performance in the ring is tainted. So where do we go? Where do we go from here? Again, those things when you're putting on a fight card, like I always tell people, whenever y'all see the pay per view or the main event, the 3 fights before that are the ones on TV. There's a bunch more before that. Right now, he's trending towards that way. And if Amir Khan, who was a better boxer than him, wound up at the 445 fights, Ryan Garcia will too.
Yeah, and let's be very clear with the audience here that isn't watching us on YouTube. We're both 39. We're not. I'm on social media, but it's not the same way that like a 20-something-year-old kid is on social media. So
Right.
I can't gauge, what really makes like a TikTok celebrity. Just because they come across my feed, I'll compare it to this. This is what really makes me feel old is music. If I'm going through a playlist, and I'll listen to a song, I mostly listen to Latin music. I hear a new musician, I'm like, oh man, this song sounds good. Let me check out their, their profile, and it says like 27 million listeners. I'm like, I literally just found out who the hell this was today. So that's how I feel with music, new music, and TikTok celebrities. I'm not even like crapping on them or anything, or good for them. I'm not talking bad about them. I'm just saying I don't understand that life. I'm too old for that. My knees are not a TikTok user's knees.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I don't know. Yeah, maybe a crossover star is somebody that just is huge on TikTok that will never hear of outside the ring, and that's going to be great for them and their brand. I don't know.
But the main thing is always the main thing. You can be popular on TikTok, on stream, on another sport with a celebrity couple, the whole nine. You better not be sorry in the ring. The ring is key. You better be good. You better be winning. You better be putting on massive performances in the ring. That's the first thing, because people remember that. They won't remember anything else outside of what happened in the ring. If you get dropped in the ring, we'll remember you for getting dropped. If you come out on a Saturday night fighting badly, we're going to remember that. If you drop somebody early and you fight in a good fight, you dominate the fight, we will remember that. We won't care about your streams and your dances after a while. That will wash out. But your performances, that's what matters.
Very, very good point. And we'll just see where it goes for Ryan Garcia. And while we're talking about this, I realized that 2 losses and a no contest. Like, is that everything that's happened in his last 3 fights?
445 fight, he on the way.
Yeah, no, that's
3 losses in the no contest. You on the way to the hey man, it's only family and friends in the audience. and the family, friends, the judges, the one medic that's there that may or may not be licensed, because the real medic don't get there till 6. You gotta have perspective, man. Hey, people not here to play games with you. Like, they are not like, the one thing I've learned about sports, especially boxing as of late, if you are worth it, the resources are there. They're putting it towards you. If you're not, them 4:45, 5 p.m. fights might as well be amateur fights. They might as well be the Friday local fights at the 4-round fights at the local gym or warehouse or civic center or whatever, because don't nobody care about them fights, and ain't nobody in the arena. Nobody's in there. It's very it's so empty. You can hear when a boxer gets hit, the grunt they make very loudly. That's how empty the arena is.
Yeah, that's it's got to be sad, and I'm sure it's the same thing for other celebrities, actors that were on top of the world in the 90s.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that I guess with something like acting, it's not the same as, of course it's a craft you got honed, you got better at it, but the world can just pass you by. There's a new, hotter, younger star. But with boxing, it's like you just got to keep working hard and taking your training, conditioning seriously, and don't walk in the ring, glazed over like he just got out of bed.
That and have a plan. Like boxing is about making adjustments mid-fight. You can come out with an agenda, but once that agenda gets neutralized, then what? And it feels like these boxers don't be having plans when they get in the ring and adversity strikes. They just kind of shut down. And it's like, that's not what boxing is. Boxing is about, reading and reacting to what's going on and making decisions mid-fight, mid-round, and trying to get a W. And I see less and less, and I see guys just totally unprepared, whether it's them or their corner, and then we be seeing them lose, and they shouldn't lose fights. They lose in fights they shouldn't lose, and next thing you know, they on the verge of 445 fights, and that ain't good. I'm telling you, don't nobody want to be a 445. You do not get women fighting at 445. Anybody can be a 445 fighter if they put their body to it and they get in shape. Ain't nobody trying to celebrate going out to dinner with a 445 fighter. Ain't nothing beautiful when you see on Instagram, on Twitter, on Blue Stream, on TikTok. All the beautiful women ain't nothing no 445 fighter like that. That got to be like a high school sweetheart or somebody that you are locked in with. You're not getting no attractive women fighting at 445, bro. That ain't happening. That's not going to take place.
I think that's the best way to encapsulate it. Well, and you know what? We can even bring it back full circle. A thing that I think, I'm just speculating again, only speaking on vibes. I can't back any of this up, but the allure of a social media trying to make a star out of somebody that fights just not super great fighters to try to build that person's career up because they had some hype, like a Ryan Garcia, like an Edgar Berlanga, mind you.
Yes.
Who are not ready for the big leagues, and when they do, they flame out.
So Edgar's situation is different because I'm not a fan of his, but he can sell a fight because he's Puerto Rican, and Puerto Ricans love Puerto Ricans. So he will always get 10,000 plus in a venue on the East Coast, primarily New York. However, you are right. He won't get the 445s because he can sell tickets. That's the one disclaimer. If you can sell tickets in 2026 and beyond, you're gonna be on the card. You're gonna be on the main card for sure because there's only a handful of people who can sell tickets. So at the end of the day, business is still business, no matter how you slice it. However, performance-wise, he has a lot of 445 in him. A lot. I'm not impressed at all. And I've never really been impressed, to be honest with you, by him.
No, but I don't know if you remember what his whole thing was when he was an up and coming. The next big thing was that he had like 9 round one knockouts in a row or 10 round one knockouts in a row, and you're like, oh my god, is this like a Tyson guy? The guy's gonna put guys on the ground and fights over in 120 seconds, blah blah blah. So I'm not taking anything away from him being able to knock somebody out in round one. I can't do that shit.
Right.
So let's be clear about that. But when that's sort of like what your hype is, try to build you up into a star, and then you face some real adversity, because his Edgar Berlanga, 10 knockout compilation on YouTube has like 5 million views, blah blah blah. That seems to kind of be the starting off point for a lot of these young guys.
It's cute. Eventually you got to win the good fights, though. We don't care about all the up and coming fights. We just don't. Like, it doesn't matter. No one goes to someone's first 10 fights or first 15. We care about what's the now. If you're not able to win these or be competitive in these, we not caring. He's very lucky he has basically a race behind him because they will support. He has a lot of support in New York, a lot more than I thought he did. So that will help, but the boxing got to get better. There's so many holes in his game to where it's like, yeah, you should be better by now. But like you mentioned, if you're known as a knockout artist and you didn't develop other set skills, this is what we get. You get to the big time being hella flawed. You run against somebody that's sound, and then now you're getting dropped twice in your hometown. So you're right.
Yeah. And just goes to show Edgar Berlanga, maybe don't bring Fat Joe out on your ring walk.
Yeah, Fat Joe has been, it's been rough. Last time he sung the national anthem or he performed in front of the World Series, they lost. He brought out Berlanga last year. Berlanga got embarrassed at home. He's been outed for lying several times on his podcast. I think it's all in good fun. But yeah, it's Fat Joe's an interesting guy. But I've never heard anything bad about Fat Joe for whatever that is worth. So yeah.
Okay. No, it's just kind of fun to clown on him, to be quite honest.
Oh, absolutely. But he takes it in good sport though. It's not like it's a
sure.
Yeah, he takes it in good spirit. But at the same time, he's always the one thing I will say is he will rep people like Berlanga before they
Mhm.
become mega stars. So let's say Berlanga
Mhm.
puts it together, becomes a top 5 boxer, right? Fat Joe just won't go attached to him. Then Fat Joe rock with him at this stage, which I can respect.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, that's all the boxing news that's fit to print. Let's switch gears and move on to our segment that we call Pop Pugilism, a segment in which we discuss a movie or TV show about boxing. Today, we are talking about I'm going to call this an alleged comedy. I'm not saying that this is a bad movie we're talking about, but it's listed as a comedy. And while I was watching it, I'm like, so like, were there supposed to be jokes?
Yeah,
Just to get
I
that
got
started.
beef with this one because
Okay.
whoever decided this one, I don't know if it was our producer or whoever, but I wasn't a fan of this one.
Okay. Well, we're talking about Diggstown from 1992, directed by Michael Ritchie, starring James Woods, Louis Gossett Jr., Bruce Dern, and you know what? Allegedly Heather Graham, who's in like 2.5 scenes and
Mm-hmm.
just disappears from the movie at the end of it. But it is very much like a movie about guys, and Heather Graham is like, well, she's pretty, and let's put her in there looking hot, and well, we don't need her anymore. Let's just dump her before the end of the movie. But yeah, let's go ahead and start with you, Jamieson. What's the beef? What is your beef with this
It just
movie?
wasn't it. All right, so compared to the other items we've watched over the last couple of years, this ain't it. Like
Okay.
it doesn't meet the standard of the quality of films and documentaries, etc. Of the other things. It's kind of cheesy. It's kind of like whatever. There's like no. It was a tough watch. Just not really like it is what it is. If it serves a purpose for what we need, but every pop pugilism film that we've had has been better than this.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting that it ranks that low. Yeah, I also started off and say I didn't love it. I also didn't find it that painful of a watch. It was more just kind of that I was like, where is this supposed to be funny or what are you even
Right.
doing here? It was it's like it's like watching a light-hearted boxing drama, I guess, if I could describe it that way. Here we'll get into the meat of the story. James Woods is a con man. Bruce Dern is a rich guy in a small town called Diggstown, and James Woods tries to con Bruce Dern out of a bunch of money by betting him that they know a guy, a boxer named Honey Roy Palmer, played by Louis Gossett Jr., who can knock out, was it 10 boxers in
Mm-hmm.
one night?
Mm-hmm.
And so they have a whole thing, and it's all set up from the get go. James Woods and Louis Gossett Jr. were friends from before. Louis Gossett Jr. retired. He was a professional fighter that's done cash fighting, so he's basically setting this up and saying like, this is my guy, but he's pretending not to know Louis Gossett Jr. And this one is like it's like two movies. The first half is all the setup, the scamming, the Ocean's 11 type of like, well, how we're gonna do this, sneak around, scam this person, and then it's just like lots and lots of fights. So if there was a boxing movie that you're like, there's not enough actual action in the ring, the second half is mostly that. It's like a little too disjointed. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you see Louis Gossett Jr. fight every single one of those 10 dudes. So if that's what you really want is to just watch actors pretend box in the ring, like oh, you're gonna be like a pig in shit. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. This is as much middle of the road as I could possibly describe. um there's nothing really here that's super memorable. I forgot most of it after it was over, to be quite
Oh,
honest.
I forgot most of it while watching.
Okay.
It was bad. Like we got to do better with the selections. Our time is too valuable. With that being said, can I just give it incomplete? It make it better. Does it incomplete so I can be nice?
Yeah.
Because if I give a number, it's gonna be rude. I'm trying not to be rude
Okay.
in 2026.
Okay.
And we
So
can't keep.
wait. So you're just saying you're choosing not to rate it at all?
All right, I'm trying to be a better person. One of the women that I deal with on a regular occasion, wanted me to be nicer this year. So I told her I would do my best to be nicer this year in terms of not being
Okay.
rude. and we cannot give negative numbers. So I would just call it incomplete. Remember in school when you did a homework assignment bad, they would just put incomplete or see me after class. That's what this shit is. It's a see me after class. It's an incomplete. It's a hey, I'm gonna call your parents because you out here bullshitting, but I can't say that because it's against the rules as a teacher. So I'm just gonna put incomplete and kind of just erase from my memory bank and get ready for the next film that we're gonna watch.
I don't know, man. I think saying all of that is ruder than just saying -1.
Hey, you said, hey, our producer said be rude in all caps. So I had to listen. So
well, this is I'm going to say this. I've seen way worse movies than this, but I'm kind of loving how much you hated this movie.
Yeah, it's just trash.
Yeah, I mean, so agreed. Yes, it's trash. It's not good. But I don't know. I'm sure I could name like 10 other things that I hated more than this. What was it specifically that just rose your ire so much?
So my biggest issue when it comes to any movie is that, like you said, I got to be able to find the identity of said film right away within the first like 15, 20 minutes. What are we watching? Like, what are we doing here? And I'm like that with TV shows too. Like, if I don't get it within 20 minutes, I will automatically like just start doing other stuff because mentally I'm always occupied with thoughts. So if something comes around that's better or different, I'm on to the next. So with that being said, this just had no flow to it. Was not engaging. It wasn't based on like a real story, nothing like that. Like, so I'm like, all right. And then, like I said, it wasn't. They tried to be funny, but it wasn't. It was kind of cheesy. It just was not. Nah.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, and I get that too, especially since we're getting older. You know, I stopped hate watching things. I hate watched so many seasons of Dexter to the point where I'm like, I'm never doing that again. If I just don't care, I'm not going to watch the next season of whatever.
Right.
I believe it was seasons 3 or 4 of Stranger Things was on my list for honestly like over a year, and I'm like, I'm not going to watch this shit. I'm just not. I'm sorry. Like, even if it's amazing, I'm not really. Don't feel like getting invested or trying to get invested, so I just took it off. So that I understand. Yeah, I guess I don't know. Maybe I've just seen a lot of more bad movies that I found this just generally was like inoffensive. You know, didn't really like rock my world either way. I'm not gonna just say it's the worst movie I've ever seen. I like Louis Gossett Jr. I think he's probably like the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
And we mentioned Oliver Platt. Oliver Platt. I forgot to mention that he's in this. I always love him. He always comes to work. You know. Mm-hmm. James Woods. I used to be a huge fan of James Woods back in the day. Videodrome, awesome movie. Casino. He's a total scumbag in that. His personal beliefs and opinions do not rock with at all. So I'm less likely to enjoy watching James Woods these days. But also, he is a dude who just plays scumbags most of the time, honestly, if you think about it. The TV show, I watched that TV show Shark for way longer than most people did because that got canceled. So yeah, don't rock with James Woods. Videodrome rules, but that's because David Cronenberg is amazing. I kind of feel like I had more to say, but you kind of summarized it perfectly. There's no point. I mean, see me after class. You're bullshitting, and we need to talk to your parents. You know what, James Woods and Louis Gossett Jr., you need to call Michael Ritchie in the studio, MGM, to have a meeting with me after class. This might be my favorite. This will be my favorite segment of Pop Pugilism yet. Well, you know what, Jamieson? In honor of you, we usually rate movies out of 4 gloves. This one is going to get a big fat incomplete from me as well. You know, I don't even know how I'm gonna like put this on the YouTube channel. Usually I put up the graphics of the gloves, but
you don't have to put no gloves. But don't put no gloves.
No gloves.
There's
Okay.
No gloves.
Okay. No gloves. Not even a negative. Do not watch Diggstown, starring James Woods, Louis Gossett Jr., Oliver Platt, Bruce Dern, and allegedly Heather Graham. And how about this? Next time we'll make sure to pick an actual good movie and. That's it for that segment. We'll torture Jamieson any further. Where can people find you on social media?
Twitter at the Jamieson. You know what it is. Got a big event coming up this week. This end of this month. Got a big one. It's almost like a winner takes the next step. The loser's kind of like, So we're gonna see. And good undercards too. So
yes.
it's gonna be interesting.
Yes, I'm very excited for this. We're talking about Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez at the end
Mhm.
of this month, and so our next episode is going to be all coverage of that and the undercard fights as well, because it's going to air the same week of the fight. In the meantime, follow the show on Instagram and Blue Sky. It's at Mixed Co Podcast. Subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. Leave us a 5-star review. It only takes a minute, and it helps us out more than you can possibly know. We work hard for y'all. Jameson watched one of the worst movies he's ever seen for this show, so
Yeah, it was
we
bad.
deserve the
It
5.
was bad.
I love how much you hated this movie. It makes me so happy.
Yeah, it was bad. I could have been doing something else, man. This was bad.
Well, you can do something else and watch us on YouTube. Check out our handsome mugs. The link is on the show notes for. Sorry, I'm sorry. Let me take that again. We won't even cut it out. I'm just having a lot of fun. Watch us on YouTube. The link is on the show notes, or you can find our playlist on the 19 Media Group channel. We have a show email address. If you have any questions for the mailbag, fun stories about watching boxing in Mixed Company, or hate mail, send it all to letters@mixcopodcast.com. If you have terrible boxing movies that you see that you want us to review, send it to the mailbag.
No. And no Rocky movies either. Don't put that shit. Don't.
We got it. We have to talk about it.
Let's not do that.
We have to talk about at least one Rocky movie. You got to be at least one.
So here's the issue with Rocky. Like, it goes against everything that boxing really is for. Like, they literally went out and got the most unathletic white guy they could find to make him heavyweight champion of the world in a time where black people dominated that division. Ain't nobody got time for Rocky and his wannabe hero ass motive. I'm cool. We can maybe one of the newer ones, right? Maybe one of the spinoffs with somebody, or maybe that I can do like a Creed or something like that. That I can rock with that. But I'm not doing no Rocky 2. Like, I saw it, but we ain't doing that shit. You know, him beating the brother ain't happening on my watch.
Hey everybody, welcome to 2026, where Jamieson already broke his New Year's resolution to not be rude.
Oh yeah, no, we're not watching no damn Rocky 2 when he beat dude. No, sir. No. That's what we're not gonna do. Like, you kidding me?
I love it. Man, I love doing this show. Speaking of which, we drop new episodes every other Thursday, so please join us again on January 29th for our predictions on the Shakur versus Teofimo fight. We have been the Mixed Company Podcast, a 19 Media Group production. Thanks so much for listening, and salud.
Salute.